Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another commentary, and this time we're going back to the original PlayStation to record a very niche, unknown game. So unknown, in fact, that it's been stuck in Japan for many years. Although thankfully, it did get a re-release on the PlayStation Free store. So therefore, if you have a Japanese account on the PlayStation Free, you can download the game and experience it, even if you're a person outside of North America or Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a game presented by Artdink, a relatively obscure company that I don't know many of their games, to be honest. And this is Kaze no Notam, Notam of the Wind. It's been a while since we've done a commentary here, because last time it was a Super Smash Bros. Brawl commentary, and that was a big one. I did it with my friends Spring and Klaus. And this time around, I wanted to do something a bit small, and I'm gonna be real with you guys. I wanted to make this commentary way sooner than I'm actually doing, because this was supposed to be something that I was supposed to do all the way back in April, like mid-April around there. But I got sidetracked with other projects, mainly my reviews on Backlog. I've mentioned these a lot in the past, and I do write a lot of reviews there. If it wasn't for like YouTube's limitation, I would link it there. Maybe I'll link it in the comments if I remember. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's been a while, but now I've decided, okay, it's time to make the commentary. This one actually took me a while to record because, and I guess this is a nice segue into the game itself. Kaze no Notam, for anybody who doesn't know, that's probably a lot, is a little, Japanese game that, is a hot air balloon simulator. And basically, what your objective is just kind of go through these levels and do certain tasks, like maybe put markers in specific parts of the stage, or get to a location, or stuff like that, or shoot down balloons and stuff like that. What I like about this game is it's his vibe. You know, it's probably for people who have played this game, that's his main appeal. A lot of people have compared it to like vaporwave aesthetics, and it's not too far off. Although this game was not made in the 80s, it's a 1997 game, same year as Final Fantasy VII, which I find very curious. There are a lot of games that came out in 1997, but Kaze no Notam also has a round mode where you go through specific stages. It's pretty much the game's main single-player mode, and that is the thing that I'm mainly showcasing throughout. The game is entirely in Japanese, but I don't think it's very hard to figure out what you're supposed to do, and might as well say through this commentary what you do in each of the tasks. For round 1, it's very simple. You pretty much have to put an extra marker and make it so that the triangle, the whole area, is over a specific amount of kilometers per square. It's the first one, so it doesn't take too long to figure out what you're supposed to do. But, and I'll say this, the thing is that you can't, and this is the main gameplay of Kaze no Notam. You basically have the yellow bar on the bottom, that's the amount of gas you have. And when it runs out, the balloon will start to slowly go down until it reaches the ground. It reaches the ground, and then you fail. Game over. Unless you do have a small window of time to like throw out an extra marker, like a funnel marker if you need to, and that has been able to save me in one of the rounds of round mode. But outside of that, you don't actually control your balloon. You rely on the winds, and you press the cross button to lower and the triangle button to get more gas so you could go up. Those little arrows on the side are where the wind is pushing towards if you go a specific direction. So you can clearly move around with the D-pad or the analog stick. Well, in this case, it's the D-pad. I don't think this game supports DualShock. Did it? I'm not sure. I used the D-pad to to move around the camera, and then in this direction. So it's going forward. All right, I'm going southwest. That's what it says on the compass up there. And if I were to go all the way down to the last one, then I would start to go south, because that's the direction it's pointing. It's relatively simple to understand. And then the only thing left that you need to know is that if you want to put a marker on stage, you press R1 to go into first person, like I'm doing here, and then you just press circle, bam, there you go. And that's the first task complete. The thing is that where the winds are pointing is a bit RNG. From what I understand, You start out with specific wins, and what the wins you start off with are RNG in and of themselves. Although they are, for example, in round 4, I've played that one. I've played that round so many fucking times that normally you go south or southwest or southeast when you start. So there's not that much different there. So there's some level RNG, but not too much. But after a few, like I don't know, like 30 seconds, a minute, around there, the winds change, and that applies in many directions. And the wind, how much the wind pushes you, also changes. For example, you may find like there's two winds, there's two altitudes. Let's call it 2 out of 5, just to keep it simple. Two altitudes where the wind is pushing forward, but one of them may push you faster than the other one, and that is something you need to consider, especially for round 4. Okay, I've talked about it a lot. I hate round 4 because of the game's all RNG. Round 4 is nearly impossible, and it's kind of luck based where you get it or not. Your objective in round 4 is to put 3 markers that are far away enough so that the total area, the triangle area that they form, is over 25 kilometers square. Where is it square kilometers? I think it's square kilometers. In Portuguese, we would say 25 kilometers ao quadrado. But, I'm speaking in English, so it is what it is. Square kilometers. Thing is, it is very hard to fucking do. When you want the wind to push you in a specific way. The game, when it tells you what the round is, it gives you a suggestion. It doesn't mean you have to follow the suggestion, exactly where the markers are, but you at least need to make the objective. It's giving you a suggestion. Sometimes, because most of the time in round 4, you are going south or southwest or southeast. Alright, then you want to take one of those hints. If you can find a wind that pushes you very fast, so you travel there fast enough so you don't waste a whole lot of gas, because gas is constantly being wasted as you go, and if you press the triangle button to go up, you're wasting even more gas, so that's something you need to consider. And then you need to make sure that you put your first marker, and then I put it south, let me try and go east so I can put it all the way there, and then let me try and go west so I can put it all the way there. But the thing is, the wind may tell you to fuck off and be like, no, you're going over there. And then you're like, can I get there fast enough without wasting enough wind? Without wasting enough gas. And that is very annoying. For me, round 4, I remember my first playthrough of this game. It was back in 2023. May 2023. And I was going through the round modes, and I got to round 4. Literally, my first session was literally the first 3 rounds, and then when I got to round 4, I tried it a few times, stopped it, and then the next day, I got it in 1 or 2 tries. This time around, I got really unlucky, where during the first recording session, it took me around an hour to get through round 4 and nothing. Then the second day, the second try, 2 days later, I went back, I tried round 4 again, took around an hour 15, still didn't get it. Still didn't fucking get it. And then, the day after, I tried it again, got on my first try. And that's the thing. And the thing is, out of all the rounds, I'd say round 4 is the worst. Round 7 is sort of comparable, but my issue with round 7 is more so that the stage has a lot of mountains, and it can get pretty difficult to get around, especially you're going to bump into the mountains a lot, and sometimes they'll waste more gas, so you have to be careful. But I don't find it nearly as bullshit as round 4. Round 9 technically might be the hardest, but the only reason why round 9 is the hardest is because you have to aim really well. That's it. I do own the game on my PlayStation 3, but at the beginning of 2022, I did lose all the save data, which doesn't matter because I got this game in 2023. But in 2024, I lost my PS3. It got a short circuit on the motherboard, and I just couldn't play games on it anymore. I couldn't really salvage my hard drive save data. I think I could have, but I was dumb. So basically, I just decided to start anew with a new PlayStation 3 that thankfully does still work. And I got a Slim as well. It's just the hard drive is a different size. And I discussed this in my LSD Dream Emulator commentary. But this is the reason why I decided not to re-download again and start all over again is because I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna use save states. And even with save states, round 4 still took me a long fucking time. It only helped on specific rounds just to make it easier. And I'll say right now, there's a lot of cuts in this commentary. just for the footage to be cut down. That's why the commentary is like 37 minutes. If I was showcasing everything, this commentary would easily be over like 2 hours long. And for something like round mode, which is very simple, I don't think it's necessary to make a commentary that long. I could have also showcased some of the other things, like the main task mode, which is just you go about and stuff like that, and do tasks on your own, and that's fine. I think you can customize where your starting point is and stuff like that. But for me, Kaze no Notam has always been okay. Let me go for the round mode and try my best to do it. Uh, but unfortunately, round 4 is always a bitch because round 5, if I remember correctly, just shoot down a balloon. Round 6. Balloons are getting away. Try to chase after them. Shoot down a balloon. Round 7. Go to put 3 markers on one in. So there's 4 corners. You gotta put a marker on like 3 of them. And the first one right away is very easy. You just turn around and shoot it towards that direction. The other 2 maybe even more tricky because there's like forests and stuff like that. It's what I was talking about earlier, where there's a lot of shit in the way. And you're gonna bounce your balloon, but if you're on the right side, you could do it. I mean, for me, on both this playthrough and the other playthrough, I got round 7 done on my second try. So I think that, and I'd say that it has an easier time this time around. The only reason why I didn't get it on the first try in this playthrough is simply because of a lot of shit in the way. That's it. But yeah, like round 4 sucks, and I don't want to go and just use this commentary to say, oh, round 4 of Kaze no Notam fucking sucks, but it does fucking suck. Because we just went for round 2, and round 2 is basically teaching you that you gotta go with the winds, because the game is putting you in the direction of the target, but the thing is, the wind will make it so we don't go towards that direction, so you gotta improvise on the fly. That's kind of like the main gist with Kaze no Notam, is you gotta improvise, and sometimes you gotta, learn that, alright, I'm not winning this time. It's good to take a very laid-back perspective with this game, because the game itself, in terms of aesthetic, in terms of the soundtrack, which was one of the reasons why I found out about this game, I'll go into that in a minute. But it's all very laid-back. So if the game is laid-back to you, I think you should be laid-back to it. The problem is, round 4 fucking sucks, and we're doing it right now. At least it has a very peaceful theme called Tranquility. And, hopefully it can give you tranquility while you're trying to do the worst round of the game. But that's really it, fucking. But that's why Kaze no Notam has actually been talked about more, because how I found out about the game is that I have a friend of mine who got a Japanese PlayStation 2 a few years ago, and he's been learning Japanese and stuff like that. And he wanted to play, got a Japanese PlayStation 2 so he could play Japanese PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games. He found a game randomly that had its soundtrack uploaded on Spotify, actually. So you can listen to this game's soundtrack on Spotify, called Kaze no Notam. He decided to investigate it, he posted on Twitter, and I saw it back when I was on Twitter. And I was like, oh, this looks curious. Then he decided to get the game on a whim and play the game on stream. And I watched this stream. And I commented in the chat, and he was having trouble with round 4 and round 7. But at the end of the day, and there were some issues here and there, but at the end of the day, I saw him play, and I was like, oh, this game actually looks pretty fun. It looks interesting. And I decided to look up on the PlayStation 3 store. It's like, is this game available on the Japanese PlayStation 3 store? And it was, and I decided, oh, I have some leftover money. Let me get it and LSD, and there you go. That's how I got those games, and then I played the game. I had a way easier time back then. Round 4, not so much anymore, but I already explained it. And then I remembered that when I was playing for the game, I said that I got round 7 on my second try. I put it on Twitter, I tagged him, and he was like, that was a funny moment. But that's really it. Kaze no Notam is a very simple game. There's not a whole lot to do. It's a game that a lot of people will say that its main appeal is just to vibe, and I can agree to some extent. But the problem is that the game does give you tasks. It does give you stuff to do, and naturally you want to do that stuff. So, but unfortunately the RNG doesn't really help you that much, especially in Once again, round 4. So I will criticize the game there. There is a fault to be had there in that you can't really predict what wins you're gonna get. You can't really plan around it. You can't really like. There's not much skill in this game. It's mainly luck. If you're able to improvise on the fly, you might you might have a better chance of winning, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna get it like 100% of the time. Like sometimes the wins are just not in your direction. In round 4 that happened to me a lot. I wouldn't mention other rounds. Round 2 was a bit annoying, and round 7, I mean, for my friend was really annoying. But that's really it. I think those are the only rounds where the wins cannot be like there's points where the wins are just not in your favor, especially in round 4. But like besides that, I think the other ones are very straightforward. Like round 1, I just told you. Round 2, get it to target and shoot it close to the center as possible. Round 3, try to shoot one of the balloons. Round 4, well, the free markers, shit. Round 5, I think we'll find out in a bit. But, I don't remember what you're supposed to do in each round up until you get it. Round 7 already said. Round 8 is kind of like shoot one of the balloons, and you have to shoot multiple times. You have infinite markers on that one, which markers also act as projectiles for balloons, by the way. And the balloons are really getting away, so it's a matter of chasing after them and then shoot enough times so it falls down and you win. And then round 9 is get to the targets and try to shoot free markers as close to each other as possible so that they are within the parameter of 10 meters. So it is a very precise one, and it is easy to fuck up because if you land a marker that's just outside of that parameter, task failed. You gotta retry it. And while it doesn't take that long to get back to the target in round 9, it does start getting repetitive doing that all over and over and over and over again. And while the wins generally are in your favor, in my playthrough, specifically in this recorded playthrough, they didn't put me straight to the target. They just kind of had me zigzag a little bit. And that will happen a little bit in your playthrough. It won't be as straightforward as it may seem, but I feel like they had me zigzagged way more than the average player, I'd say. But this is what I was talking about using save states, is because that would help me for round 9 in case. And even then, and the funny thing is that I did make a save state, but I didn't have to use it because I just got very lucky and got it first try. After zigzagging a little bit. It's funny how this game works. It is. So really, so you may be wondering, okay, if this game is a lot about RNG, and if you're saying that it many appeals to Vive and stuff like that, then should I get this game? And I'd say, yeah, go give it a shot. Even if it may not be your thing, I'd still say I recommend it. It's easy to... It's on the Japanese PlayStation Free store. That's one way. And I guess you could get a Japanese copy, but the problem is that the PS1s and PS2s are region locked. And even on the PlayStation 3, yes, PS3s, all PS3s are compatible with PS1 games, but the region locking still applies to PS1 games. It just doesn't apply to PS3 games. I think there were only 2 PS3 games throughout the entire life cycle of that console that were region locked. And I think one of them was Persona 4 Arena, the original, not Ultimax, for some reason. I don't know why they made that, but sure. But at least Ultimax fixed that, But that's it, it's region locked, so you'd have to get like a Japanese console. So get like a Japanese account on PS3 or Yar. I mean, they're not. I mean, the only reason I'm even mentioning this because most of my commentaries I try not to mention Yar. But the only reason I'm mentioning this is because this game has not been re-released. That's the thing. It's not been re-released, so people can try it. A very easy way. It's not like Artdink. I mean, Artdink, as far as I'm aware, they're still kicking. They're still making games. I think they've been helping like Atlas on some projects recently, some stuff like that. So they're still around, and they make like a popular train franchise that's popular in Japan. So that's interesting, but you don't see them really releasing a whole lot of their games, and that's a shame. That is a shame. Also, by the way, I am looking it up, and yeah, totally unprofessional, very unprofessional on my part. But from my understanding, okay, no, it wasn't Atlas that they helped. It was Square Enix. They helped make Triangle Strategy. Oh no, they did help Atlas with Soul Hackers 2. Okay, you know what, Soul Hackers 2, I kind of forgot about that game. Like, what happened to that game? It's very interesting. they helped with the Dragon Quest 3 HD. So there's that. So Artdink are still around and making games and stuff like that. It's just that it's unfortunate we can't replay this game. Gods, So there's no accessible way. It's my similar struggle to other games like Burning Rangers, and now I can say Knights because the PC release has been delisted. I talked about it in my Sega Arcade Collection video, but like, holy fucking shit, holy fucking shit. But yeah. All right, round 5. I remember that, yeah, you have to put markers on each of the targets, and I think you have to get it as close to the center of the target as possible. Besides that, there's not much to write home about. I will say that jumping ship a little bit because I haven't discussed this. I do like the 3 stages that you go around. Like, one is a giant desert with like factories and stuff like that, and the other one is a giant like mountain valley with a big forest on the side, and then the main one is like a city and with like a lot of stuff around, like a greenery, some mountains in the distance and stuff like that. I really like the variety. And then you can also, in task mode, you can like customize them at all the different times. And you can select any song from the game. So you can put it like sunset, sunrise, middle of the day, at night, raining. That's all very cool. I like that. I like it. It gives you customizability. And then the songs, that is one of the biggest things about Kaze no Notam is its soundtrack and how my friend and I found about the game. And the reason why the soundtrack is so interesting is because it continues to add on to that vaporwave aesthetic, but a lot of it is like is very calming or very interesting. Like, it's very interesting. I don't know how exactly I can characterize the soundtrack. I don't know what genre I would put in besides atmospheric, I guess. But I wouldn't call it even completely atmospheric, like, some of the melodies are a bit catchy. So, I don't know, man. Oh, I forgot to edit that out. But, yeah, it is what it is, it is a very interesting soundtrack, and it's good. Very good. Let me see if I can find the composer. It was composed by, and the soundtrack is also available on CD, which is interesting. It was released like a couple years ago. It was made by Yasuyuki Suzuki and also Ryuji Nishida. I don't know what other compositions they've made, but it is cool. It is a very good soundtrack. Yeah. Yeah. Besides that, I don't think I have that much more to talk about with the game. But I think something that I can mention is what has been happening to me ever since the Brawl commentary ended, because, well, something major happened in my life. Right after the Brawl commentary, the last part of the Brawl commentary was posted, and that is I finished my master's degree. I'm now a master's in Asian studies, and that was cool. I have a lot of memories with that course, mainly the 4 months I spent in Japan. I talked about it in previous commentaries, but I'm now done. I'm done with college. I don't plan, at least right now, doing anything else. So it's now a matter of finding a job, and let's see where that leads me. If if I can get a job, maybe I could get a Switch 2 later down the line. That's a big thing. I mean, I haven't discussed it yet because when we finished up the Brawl commentary, it was before that direct happened. But I watched the direct with Klaus. And I talked about the Fallout with my friends and stuff like that, and we all had a lot of opinions and stuff like that. Mainly when it comes to the price. The price is one of the big things, especially for us Europeans. Like, but overall, my opinions on the Switch 2 is that it is almost everything I wanted, outside of the game key cards on some games and the pricing. Which, well, that also would apply to Switch 1. I mean, it's cheaper on Switch 1, I know, but for me, I always try to get my games, like, cheaper. So, same thing is gonna apply for Switch 2, Yeah, my overall thoughts is that the Switch 2 is everything I asked for on a technical on technical specs and on games. Like, the games look very unique, and that's why I'm very much looking forward to get the console one day. because I do want to play some of these games. I want to play Donkey Kong Bonanza. I want to play Kirby Air Riders. I want to play the GameCube games on NSO. Ooh, those will be very interesting. I want to try all that stuff out. Especially, oh my god, like the Nintendo game. Like, take it from me, a guy who loves Nintendo Switch Online. I will be unapologetic here. I love experimenting with games on Nintendo Switch Online. If it wasn't for that service, I wouldn't have known games like Sin and Punishment. I wouldn't have known of games like Mario Picross, and I wouldn't even buy games like Super Mario Bros. Free. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't see. Wouldn't see myself buying like that game. You know. And with GameCube, it was that interesting thing because on the Switch One, they were doing remasters of games. They were doing a remaster of Metroid Prime 1. They did a remaster of, they already had made the remaster of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess back on the Wii U. And we're all still waiting for those games to get a remaster someday. Or, well, with the Wind Waker, I'll discuss in a bit. To still get that HD port ported on, like, Switch. And Nintendo just said, don't rule it out just because Wind Waker is on GameCube NSO, so there's that. And there was Pikmin 1 and 2 and stuff like that, and so we were kind of uncertain. And for me, I was thinking, because I took my bachelor's in marketing, advertising, and public relations, I was trying to think, okay, from a marketing perspective, I don't think Nintendo would get much of a mileage reselling like Chibi Robo for like even if you were kind and we put it like $40, I still think like Nintendo doing an HD remaster of Chibi Robo and selling it for $80. Sorry, for $80. No, for $40 would just not be financially viable, considering that series has never really sold well, and we can get into many debates as to why that is. I mean, I find that it having poor sales is unfortunate, and I've only played Photo Finder, alright? I haven't played much Chibi Robo, but I have a friend who loves that series, and is upset that Chibi Robo is dead, pretty much. But I'm just talking facts, and the fact is that Chibi Robo never really sold all that much, so I didn't really expect Nintendo to do that, or for example, the many Mario games, like the Mario Parties, I don't see Nintendo like re-releasing those separately. They'd rather make new ones or bring content from those onto new games, like Mario Party Superstars. So I didn't see that happening. So basically, I was thinking, okay, maybe we're gonna get a GameCube NSO, but it wouldn't be for a few years. They probably still want to remaster some other games. Maybe finally put those HD versions of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, F-Zero GX, maybe. I'm not sure about Star Fox Assault, but that's a possibility. But no, what Nintendo decided to do is like, yeah, we're gonna pull the trigger. We're gonna do GameCube NSO. It's exclusive to Switch 2, and you get it with your expansion pack subscription at no extra cost. And that is amazing. That is literally the best thing they could have done. You still need to get the expansion pack, and of course you need to Switch 2 to play these games. But that's it. You don't need to pay extra. There's no like extra tier or pay $10 more. No. If you're like me, a European, you still continue to pay your €40 per year. And now the expansion pack has so much content. Like, it was already having a bunch of content with the Nintendo 64 games, the Game Boy Advance games. And don't sleep on some of the Mega Drive games they added. Like, some of the Mega Drive games that are on NSO are just not simply in any collection or anything like that. So, that's neat, so don't sleep on those. But they got GameCube. And I'm like, wow. I was thinking if they were going to do it like an NSO console next, it would probably be the DS. And considering that Nintendo Switch 2 has like mouse controls, I think that would work, Some people are like, oh, but 2 screens. And I'm like, I think they could, if the Wii U could find a workaround, then I know the Wii U had 2 screens, but the Wii U literally gave you options to put 2 screens on one screen. So I think the Switch 2 would do something similar. Is that, now you can use the mouse to simulate the touchscreen on the TV. And on the go, you can use the touchscreen. Easy. I think DS will come eventually. But for other consoles, like some people have been saying, 3DS, never gonna happen. I don't think 3DS is gonna happen. The Wii, that's a tricky one. Because Wii games, a lot of them are very big on content. That's why I was also hesitant on GameCube, because a lot of GameCube games, like literally, a lot of people are complaining like, oh, but it's a trip feed. But like, yeah, I know, we could get these games right now, but it's also like, I believe that the reason why Nintendo does this is not only just because of the subscription model that makes you want to pay over and over, even though it's per year, but also to make you appreciate games that are already there. If it wasn't for the fucking this servers, I wouldn't have gotten Sin and Punishment. If it wasn't so easily available on there, I wouldn't have played Sin and Punishment, and that game became one of my favorites on Nintendo 64. One of my favorite games, period. It's just fun. I really like it, Like I said a bunch in my commentary from almost 2 years ago. Jesus. So yeah, so I'm completely fine. And like, yeah, it's only 3 games to launch, but those 3 games are big. Like, Wind Waker alone gives you like 20 hours of content. F-Zero because of how hard that game is, gives you hours and hours of content. Soul Calibur 2, well, it's a 1v1 fighting game, so while, if you're a casual, you may not be super invested, but, you may want to unlock the characters. And if you play online with friends, like, you can beat each other up, so there's also value to be gathered there. And it seems like future games we're gonna get, I mean, there's Chibi Robo, there's Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, that's an RPG. There's the Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness that Klaus freaked out over, and that was amazing. Super Mario Sunshine, which, yeah, save states please, I don't want to go for Poison River again. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. But, there's a lot to be excited with GameCube, and for me, I've played a few GameCube games, but I never really grew up with the platform. I haven't played that many games from the console. I've always been curious on it, so yeah, no, this is perfect. What I'm hoping is that we eventually get other third-party games. It's great that we got Soul Calibur 2. That's awesome. But we can finally play as Link again. But what I want is I hope Sonic gets there. That'll be awesome. Like Sonic Adventure, because I'm still waiting on I want to play Adventure 1 and Adventure 2 on the go. Which is say, come on, just give me that, all right? But for other systems, because they renamed these apps to Nintendo Classics, with the exception of the Mega Drive app, it feels like third-party consoles at least are not gonna happen, which is a bit unfortunate because I kind of want Saturn and Dreamcast, especially now on Switch 2. I love those. But I just hope that Sega re-releases them in some way, shape, or form. Like, there's a lot of gold in those libraries, and Sega is just not re-releasing them, and I'm sad. I'm big sad. And I own these consoles now. I mean, Dreamcast, I don't have many games for it, but Saturn, I have a decent amount of games, and I love it. As you guys know, because of the other commentaries. If you watch the other commentaries, if not, if this is your first commentary, welcome aboard. Hope you enjoyed the ride. I'm very laid back and stuff like that with these commentaries, so you could treat them like a podcast in a way. Podcast of me, myself, and I. But yeah, in regards to Switch 2, literally, I'd be satisfied if I get like Donkey Kong Bonanza and then just play GameCube with Switch 2. Mario Kart World has been a controversial game, a little bit of a controversial game because, yeah, it's Mario Kart, it's going to be fun. But for me, I didn't get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe till way later in the console's life cycle. I didn't get it till 2023, like 6 years after it had been released, alright? And in a few months before the Battle Course Pass ended, okay? I didn't get that game for years. And for Mario Kart World, I can see myself doing a similar thing. Like, I don't get the game for a few years. And what doesn't help, but here in Europe, a physical copy is 90 euros. Euros, not dollars. For North Americans, the physical copy is $80, which is still not good, but it's not 90. To get those misconceptions out of here, okay? Like, the worst thing we need now is misconceptions, because while Nintendo was very thorough when it came to tech stuff, they were not very thorough when it came to like pricing, And here's the thing. Normally they don't say the price of games in the rights, so that I expected. I was already expecting games to go $70. So Donkey Kong Bonanza being 70, that I was expecting. But what I was expecting was the console price to be at the directs, like the Nintendo Switch 2017 presentation. That didn't happen. Some people may say, "Oh, that one was not a direct. This is," but still, even still, with a new console launch, at least giving the price on the console, and I don't think the price is that bad. It's $450, 470 euros here because we don't have to pay for extra tax unlike Americans. Because in actuality, what Americans are paying like 35 bucks more. So you're actually paying 485 bucks, not 450. So that's something. For us, we're paying 470 flat. And the reason why I'm fine with that price is really because of the tech. Like, this is a console that will have games that look better than PS4 games that are close to PS5. Some of them, like Street Fighter 6, look better than the Series S version, which is impressive and runs super smoothly. And not only that, not only does it support 4K, but it also supports 120 frames per second on handheld mode. And that was something that I've never experienced before. And with Switch 2 will be the first time I get to experience that. And that's so awesome. Like, I want to get, like, Metroid Prime for the Switch 2 edition. I can see myself getting, like, the Switch 1 edition and paying the extra for the upgrade pack just so I have the Switch 1 copy. And then, like, putting on performance mode and playing, like, on handheld, which will be 1080p, 120 frames per second. I'm like, bro, that game is gonna look so gorgeous and will be so smooth. Like, I've never tried anything above 60 frames. Alright, so this will be very cool. But yeah, with that Switch 2 discussion out of the way, the Kaze no Notam round mode is beaten. And with that, let me just finish my thoughts on Kaze no Notam, conclude my thoughts, which is, this is a good game. It's not great, it is flawed. I think the RNG element can be a bit of a bitch, especially on, once again, round 4. But I do think it's a fun time, and it's a nice game for you to vibe to if you just want to fly around and just enjoy the sights. Even when doing tasks, some of them can be pretty fun. I like shooting down balloons in particular, but doing markers, putting markers is also not too bad. So yeah, this is a nice little niche game that I wanted to make a commentary on for quite a while now. And let's give this game some spotlight. And for the people who have stuck around, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, now all I leave you is this question. Did you luxuriate in the winds? No? Try again later. I'd love to ride a hot air balloon one day. Oh well. Well, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary, and see you guys later.